Hello YouTube and welcome to a D.B.T. Gamer Special. As promised, I am now going to talk about E3. Let's begin with Sony.
Take a shot every time you hear a reference to a shooter.
The first game they announced was Uncharted 3. This game doesn't look too bad actually. It's got quite a lot of stealth in it. As for the demo I saw, it's got action in it, it's got shooting.
Take a shot.
It's also got a sinking ship sort of level. And the actor, or the character, is quite cocky. He reminds me quite a lot of James Bond. It's sort of like a very adventurous sort of game. In other words, it kind of reminds me of Tomb Raider.
A shooting Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose Tomb Raider shot things anyway.
But instead of a girl shooting things, you've got a bloke that's kind of like James Bond.
Okay.
So for all you Uncharted fans out there, there's a new Uncharted game coming. The next game that Sony talked about was Resistance 3.
Take a shot.
Resistance 3.
Did they ever make a Resistance 2?
Yeah, they did. I actually had a look at it in the shop a few years back.
Oh, fair enough.
This game will release this year in September. It's got lots of aliens in it, and the demo was very short, so that was kind of disappointing as far as footage was concerned when I was watching this press conference.
It's got lots of aliens in it. You mean like every sci-fi game like ever made?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Carry on.
The next game they showed off was God of War Collection. It's sort of like a compilation sort of disc. And it's got 2 God of War games on it. It's got God of War Chains of Olympus. This was on the PSP.
I think it was a PSP release.
And Ghosts of Spartas, I think it's called.
I don't know much about the God of War series, but
all these were on the PSP, and they're all going to be released in Sony's rip-off of the 3DS's version of 3D. 3D with those little glasser thingies. And you have to buy a big expensive television set. Also, the Uncharted and the Resistance thing is also being 3D.
yeah, it seems to be the new gimmick these days.
I think Sony's rocking the 3D quite a lot this year. The next thing they announced was something that me and Adam might enjoy if we didn't want to buy the game again. Ico and Shadow Colossus Collection.
Seriously, they're re-releasing them?
Yeah, they're re-releasing Ico and Shadow Colossus on one Blu-ray disc, and it's also going to be updated in like HD. It's going to be also 3D compatible if you want to watch it that way.
Fair enough, fair enough. Good games. If you've never played them, play them.
The next game they announced, Killzone 3.
Take a shot.
This was part of basically a trailer montage. E3's press conference, Sony's press conference started off with a massive trailer montage that lasted about 5 to 10 minutes. And I just wrote down every game I recognised. And the first one I recognised was Killzone 3. If you've played Killzone before, you know what to expect. I don't need to go any further.
Yeah, as you can guess, we're not fans of shooters.
I'm a fan of shooter games, but these days there are so many shooters out. We need to start investing in something in a game genre that doesn't involve blowing people's balls into the stratosphere.
Yeah, we really need to trim the herd as far as shooters go.
Yeah. Okay, the next game that was in this trailer set was Ratchet & Clank All for One. Take a shot. It has got shooting in it.
Has it? I don't know much about the Ratchet & Clank series either. As you can probably guess, I completely ignored E3 like I do every year.
Right. The next thing that Sony talked about that was not a game. It's a nice idea, but I'm not so sure if this is going to get people into 3D. Basically, they have this pitch where they said to get people interested in 3D and make it affordable for people, they brought out this specially designed TV to play 3D Sony PlayStation games. And you get a 3D telly, a copy of Resistance 3, a special HD sort of cable thingy, 1 pair of glasses, and the whole thing costs about $500. It's not.
How big is this TV?
I can't remember, but
$500.
Yeah, that's about 250 quid to 300 quid in our country. So it's not
for a console.
No, just one game.
Oh, just the game. A special cable to connect the TV that comes with it to the console and the TV itself.
Yeah, and also 1 pair of glasses.
and a pair of 3D glasses. That is actually pretty good value for money, depending on how big the TV is.
Yeah.
Because if it's just like one of those little sort of laptop thing, it's really not going to be worth it.
They also announced that the 3D glasses for this TV would be less than $100 each. So you can buy quite a lot of glasses with it for your family to use.
Or alternatively, you could set it to 2D and not pay anything for the glasses at all.
Yeah, that's what I would do. The next thing they announced were a bunch of sports games.
Let's get through them.
They started off with NBA 2012.
Basketball, the only sport I was ever really any good at. Mainly because I'm like 6'2" and I towered over everyone else in the class.
This game does have move support. So it's basketball with move. Yay!
You mean that sort of ping pong glowy Wii remote rip-off thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next game they talked about, these are all from EA, I think.
EA Sports?
No, EA the company, not EA Sports.
Oh.
EA Sports is the part of the company that makes the sports games. EA is the company itself.
I am familiar with these things, yes.
The next thing they announced was Medieval.
Medieval?
Medieval Move, which is basically, from what I could tell, it was an exploration sort of game where you had 3 things to do. You had a sword.
Did it star a skeleton with only one eye?
No, forget the skeleton. I'm sorry, it's not that. It's not a sequel, mate.
They've made a medieval game not starring Daniel Fortescue, and yet they still dare call it medieval. Or is that a working title?
No, it's called Medieval Move. But it has got medieval in the title. I can see why you're
The
pissed.
cunts!
Basically, the game has 3 styles of gameplay. You've got a sword play where you can hit people with your move, sort of thing.
Right.
You've got a bow and arrow, and you have these little throwing stars. And the game is based around, so you don't have to press any buttons at all. If you want to take out your sword, you just put your hand there, pull out your sword. If you want to throw a ninja star, you put it on your hand, you just throw ninja stars. If you want to take out an arrow, you put it behind your back and you just sort of shoot a bow. They've tried to make it so you don't have to use buttons at all. Good luck, guys, because I can't see this working without buttons.
So what they've basically done is re-released Wii Sports and put it for the PS3 and attached their pathetic little move system to it.
It's also in like a castle sort of setting. You know, you run
Oh
around.
wow, changed the background slightly, and instead of a resort, you're in a sort of Camelot.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Fuck off.
The game looks fun enough, but I don't think they can get it work with all the motion controls. You will have to incorporate some sort of button to turn the system on for starters. And the TV, and all the plugs that you have in your bedroom. Okay, next game they talked about was Infamous 2.
Infamous
2. I don't really know much about the series, but I have seen screenshots, demos, and watched a few videos on this. As far as I can tell, the Infamous series involves a man who...
It's sort of good and evil powers, and depending on whether you destroy the city you're in or rebuild it and save the populace, it's sort of a morality thing.
The guy seems to have the ability to shoot lightning out of his fingers, so he kind of reminds me of the X-Men. So he's like kind of a mutant. He's always talking about powers and stuff and that sort of thing. It looks like a good action game. If you're a fan of the Infamous series, you might want to buy this. The next thing they talked about was Little Big Planet 2 update. It's basically not a game that you're going to be buying. Basically, when you turn your Little Big Planet on, eventually you'll get a system update, so you can play the game now with the move.
Woot.
The next thing they talked about was Starhawk, which is a third-person shooter. Take a shot. It looks like a pretty good third-person shooter, although it's a third-person shooter, so it's
kind of spitting into the ocean kind of thing. You're not really gonna get much originality out of shooters anymore.
Okay, on to page 2. The next thing they announced was Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. I don't really know that much about this series. I did try and do some research, but it was a bit difficult because the game isn't even finished yet. It's not released until 2012.
Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Is that it wouldn't happen to star a raccoon, would it?
Yes.
Yeah, I know of it.
Apparently,
it's a 3D platformer from the PS2 era.
Apparently, Sony fans have been wanting a sequel to this series for a long time, and Sony has finally decided to answer their call and give them what they want. Spyro, go back to the old sort of game style and give me that, please. I would buy it instantly.
Final Fantasy VII, if you're going to remake it, fucking do it!
Yeah. The next thing they announced was Dust, which is another shooter. It's also...
Take a shot.
It's also available in Move format.
Woot.
It's also got quite a lot of online in it. It's sort of based on like an MMO sort of format. The next thing they announced, Adam, you'll be interested in this, is BioShock
Infinite.
Infinite.
Oh, yes.
Take a shot.
It's a third-person shooter, yes.
This one will be Move compatible. Was BioShock 2 Move compatible?
No.
Right.
I think BioShock 2 came before the Move was released.
Yeah.
And besides, I had the Xbox 360 version.
The next thing they talked about was Saints Row, which is a newer Move title. I can't remember what sort of game this was, but yeah.
Saints Row is a shooter, so you can take a shot. It's a type of driving simulator whereupon you play as the leader of a gang known as the Third Street Saints. And if you like Grand Theft Auto, buy Saints Row because it's a fucking lot better. You can do loads more things in it. It's a hell of a more enjoyable game.
Right. The next thing they talked about was Star Trek. And this one is not going to be released until 2012, and it's going to have Move support.
What is it?
It's a Star Trek game.
That doesn't really narrow it down.
I'm sorry, the trailer was very, very short. It was in that trailer montage.
Oh, right.
I saw very little of it. The only thing I figured out it would support Move. The next thing they talked about was a new EA title it was snowboarding.
Yeah.
They said that in the PS3 version, as like downloadable content or unique content, that there'll be a stage where you can snowboard down Mount Fuji in Japan, and this will not be featured in the Xbox version at all. I thought that's pretty cool. We get something extra for the Sony fans.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it is. Snowboarding isn't. I suppose you could call it an extreme sport. And
it is extreme. How much more extreme can you get?
Extreme ironing.
All right, whatever.
Yeah, that's the only other obscure extreme sport I actually know about. And must admit, snowboarding down the side of a live volcano does seem interesting.
The next thing they talked about was Need for Speed. This looks like a pretty good game. I haven't played that many Need for Speed games in my life, but the ones I have played, I had fun whilst I was playing them at least.
Yeah, driving games don't interest me at all, unless it's Saints Row.
The next thing they talked about was Battlefield 3. Take a shot. It's a newer shooter. Yay.
Woot.
Also, when you buy Battlefield 3, you'll get Battlefield 1943. Take a shot.
Yeah, because that's...
which is the PlayStation...
I think it's a PlayStation 2 release.
It's a PlayStation Network title that can only be downloaded, so it's on the Blu-ray disc, so you can have like 2 games for the price of 1.
Yeah. So take 2 shots for that game.
Yeah. Anyway, YouTube, that's the first part of my Sony wrap-up done. In the next part, I'm going to talk about the NGP, also known as the PlayStation Vita. See you then.